Today's date is Saturday, January the 13th, 2024, and I am honored and proud to be back with Carolyn Mansfield. For those of you that may be seeing this video for the first time, we've done two prior parts, part 1 and 2, surrounding teaching people what is going on internally with us at a cellular level within our blood, and more importantly, what we're going to be able to show here today is an incredible breakthrough. This is of historical proportions. So without further ado, let me bring on Carolyn Mansfield. Carolyn, welcome to the broadcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me back on, Christopher. And it really is an important video today, I think, because we have some groundbreaking news to share with you regarding a study that we did recently for a product. And I can't wait to show you the results.
Oh, well, that's terrific, Carolyn. Well, let's get into this. We all know it's been about the Masterpeace that we've been talking about for the last month and a half through Matt Hazen that we've both been, genuinely brought together on. And this is, as I said, I'm not mincing our words here. This is of historic proportions, what we're going to show everyone. This is the first salvo, so have at it. I'll turn the floor over to you, Caroline.
Okay, wonderful. Let me just quickly screen share with you so I can get straight to it.
And we'll let people know the process, correct, right, leading up to this as well?
Okay, sure. So I've been communicating with Masterpeace for a number of months, and we came to the decision to put together a clinical study with 3 test subjects to see whether Masterpeace was doing what it says it's doing, which is removing the heavy metals, removing the plastics, removing the forever chemicals. And I'd also come across a lab that was testing for a substance that is on everybody's mind right now. And it's what we're seeing in the blood. It's what everyone's talking about that is also affecting our health, and that is graphene oxide. So I proposed to Masterpeace that we include this analyte in the test, and they were overjoyed because no one's actually tested to see whether graphene oxide is taken out of the body by zeolites. So this is really one of the first studies to have been done in this area. So we really didn't know exactly what the dosage would be for removing graphene oxide plus these other components that we've measured in the 35-day trial, which is actually ongoing. But we did the second round of testing once everyone had started the protocol at 35-day mark. So the protocol was using Masterpeace. And the actual test, was done out of a lab which specializes in environmental medicine and genetics. And it's a top well-known lab worldwide. So we were putting Masterpeace to the test. And the test subjects were taking just 5 drops of Masterpeace twice a day for 35 days. And we did, before they started the protocol, we obviously took a baseline sample and then retested again at 35 days, as I said. And let me just show you the initial results that we've got back, Christopher, just in a graph initially. And you can see that on the left, these were the high levels of toxins in every single test subject's blood that we looked at in the high range and very high ranges of of plastics, of forever chemicals, and the graphene oxide. And at the 35-day mark, you can see how these levels have come down significantly. Now, I wasn't actually expecting this drop at 35 days. In fact, I'd advised Masterpeace to carry on for at least another month and maybe 3 months before we retest, but they were really keen to see what Masterpeace was doing at this point. So let me just take you through the actual individual test subjects' results, Christopher, so your audience can see what these levels were. So the graphene oxide on the first test subject, and let me just add that this was a COVID vaccine client. She had taken 2 of the shots, and her graphene oxide was in the very high range. I mean, this is highly toxic range. There shouldn't be any graphene oxide in our body. When I was trying to find a lab that would test for graphene oxide in the UK, not one single lab was testing for graphene oxide. And the reason that came back was, well, graphene oxide isn't in people, so why would we be testing for it? And I believe the same, stands for labs in America. No one is able to test for graphene oxide. So, and we've obviously seen it in the blood, which I'm going to come on to show you again today. So, the blood doesn't lie. So here we have a very high level of graphene oxide toxicity within this first test subject. Her forever chemicals were in the high range, and the plastics, the polyethylene and polypropylene we tested for, were borderline. Now, after 35 days, her graphene oxide came down to 53. 53, Christopher, wow, in the tolerable range. Then we had the two forever chemicals came down from high to borderline, and the two plastics came down from borderline to the tolerable range. When we say tolerable, really all of these are toxic elements that shouldn't be in the body. They're really the only tolerable level is 0, according to Dr. Robert Young. We shouldn't have any of this in us. So anything above 0, is a toxin within our body that we're having to deal with. You'll see that there's a few other analytes added to the second test. We were checking for a few other substances to see what levels were, and we're going to be doing the subsequent tests with all of these levels as well. So on the test subject 2, the graphene oxide was in the very high range at 509. Now, this was a test subject who hadn't taken any of the COVID shots, but had just as higher level of graphene oxide in her as the previous test subject.
So what does that show us, right? Where we're getting this within the outside world here, from the air, water, food? It's in cups. I mean, that's huge for not being vaccinated.
Yeah. For not being vaccinated and having this high toxic load of graphene. Where is it coming from? Right. And, I know we've covered this in our previous videos. I've shown you that potentially in medicines they're putting it in that. We know that a lot of scientists have shown that they were in the PCR's tests. It's showing up in all sorts of personal care products, sanitation products. So in the water, people have been finding it there, in our food supply. So it's not just the toxicity coming from the shots. So it's like everybody really needs to be aware that potentially they are being contaminated as well, even if they have not taken the COVID shot. Her forever chemicals were very high and borderline, and the plastics were, the polyethylene was tolerable and very high in the polypropylene. And what's interesting about the polypropylene is that is the plastic that lines all these paper cups that everybody is drinking out of when they go and get their coffees and teas around the world. I mean, this is relatively new, I would say, in the last sort of 10 to 15 years. We didn't used to all be walking around with our takeaway drinks. So this is another, way that we're getting contaminated by the plastics. So this second test subject, after 35 days, her graphene oxide came down to 225. So it halved, which is significant. And both the plastics and the forever chemicals also came down to borderline and tolerable levels. And the third test subject, graphene oxide was borderline at 203. Now, this was a COVID vaccinated individual. So his graphene wasn't as high as the test subject who hadn't had any of the COVID vaccines. So now we do actually know that the toxicity is in our environment as well as just in these shots. He had very high forever chemicals and high and borderline plastics. And again, all his levels came down. His plastics came down to tolerable, and his forever chemicals came down. But his graphene oxide actually stayed roughly the same. That did not mitigate, which is an interesting one, but it is 35 days. So everyone's going to be detoxifying differently. And when we go on to retest again at the 60-day mark and then the 90-day mark, we're going to see what his levels are doing. But But it was just a very, very interesting study, Christopher, to see that the plastics are removed by these zeolites in the Masterpeace formula, that the forever chemicals, and they're called forever chemicals because they're not supposed to be able to leave our body or leave our environment. So to actually see a product that does remove the forever chemicals from our body is very significant as well.
And the part that I love about Masterpeace, so everyone is reminded, is that these are all natural elements within our world. Nothing is being created in a chemical composite. They're grabbing the zeolite, the marine plasma, and I believe it's the fulvic acid that they use to just break down the zeolite, which is a very small, minute portion of that. And that's why this really resonates with me, is because it is so huge for our world. I mean, they can't be patented, correct?
Well, well, exactly. Zeolites can't be patented. It's a natural substance. It's been on Earth as long as Earth's been formed. And we know there's been many, many studies on zeolites being able to bring out heavy metals. We've actually done a separate test on that, and we're still waiting for results. But nobody's actually tested the zeolites for removing, obviously, graphene oxide, forever chemicals and plastics. So this is a first on test subjects. Yeah. And yeah, you touched on the fulvic acid. Halfway through the protocol, the other sister product that's been brought out is Master Restore, and that is for the gut. So this is like a protection or a shield in the gut. So where these toxins have got in through the gut into or however they've got in, if they've made their way through the gut into the blood system, the Master Restore has larger particles of zeolites in the nano range, but also in the micron range. So what that's doing is it's protecting the gut from absorbing any of these chemicals. It's picking them up in the gut and pulling them out that way. So it's like a shield. So it's like a double protection, really. Yeah, but one of the test subjects, the one who had the greatest reduction in the graphene oxide, test subject 1, she didn't take any of the Master Restore. She was just taking purely the Masterpeace. So
beautiful,
which is interesting in itself as well. So as we go forward with this study, she's just always just going to continue to take Masterpeace, right, and the other 2 test subjects will mix it up. Yeah.
Right. And I want people to know also that we didn't touch on at the beginning of this, is that these readings, these levels that they're finding, everyone needs to understand this is what's built up in your body over time, right? It's not like the graphene just appeared out of nowhere last week and we were testing, or a few months ago or 6 months. This is a lifetime of what our bodies have been interacting with within this world. And that's why this is so huge. In 35 days, this is the result already. I mean, this is really, that's why I believe this is a gift from God, how Matt has been given this incredible knowledge and his tenaciousness to stay behind it and bring it forward to the world. Sarah, I just wanted to say that here because I want people to understand the magnitude of what we're speaking to.
Yeah, no, it's a very, very good point. Exactly. Within 35 days, you've brought down some levels almost, down to 0, one of them, the graphene oxide down to 50. So it's highly significant. And I know that there's been a few doctors who have seen these results, especially Dr. Robert Young, and he's actually very impressed with these initial results coming from this test study, and he's actually talked on it as well. So much so because he can see the significance of these test results. So when we look at, I just want to go over graphene oxide because some people may not be familiar with it and exactly, what this is. But we know that this graphene oxide 2D nano that was tested is part of the graphene family of nanomaterials, and it's highly, it's able to receive and transmit signals when it's in our body. It's used for drug delivery. It's used for biosensing. It's used for gene delivery, bioimaging. The graphene it's a substance that really, it's had thousands of studies to show that it's really not compatible with the human body, but yet it's being used in a lot of ways through medicine and through pharmacological products for drug delivery. So it's getting into us that way as well as through industrial processes where that it's leaking into the environment. It could be said that, is this graphene showing up in water on purpose, or is leaking into the environment? We still don't really know the source of, how or where this is all coming from. But we do know through these graphene oxide quantum dots, they're being used for this Y-band, the wireless body antenna network, as this transmitter and receiver. We don't want this in us. And Dr. Robert Young was explaining with these quantum dots, when they are transmitting and receiving, it's affecting not only our red blood cells, it causes a lot of coagulation, graphene oxide, which I'll go on to show you, but also it's affecting the count of our white blood cells. And we know that the EMFs do actually affect our white blood cell count, but I hadn't actually thought about the fact that these quantum dots transmitting are actually causing death of our white blood cells as well in that respect, not only just through the toxicity, but through the EMFs. So that's quite an interesting point. Because when we see the graphene oxide in the blood, these graphene oxide hydrogel particles that have been showing up and seen by live blood microscopists all around the world, you can see the coagulation that happens around these structures. The cells start clumping together, and it's causing lack of oxygen flow and nutrient flow, specifically the lack of oxygen flow to the body, and obviously affecting detoxification because we're not removing waste products. But we're going to have problems with delivering oxygen to the extremities, to the brain, and also not to forget that these little nanoparticles, they cross the blood-brain barrier. So they're going into our brain. And, it's a lot of people have so many different symptoms with what's going on at the moment with EMFs, with this toxicity. And we do get a lot of brain fog. We get the tinnitus. That's the real big uptick at the moment. So many people have tinnitus, more so now, complaining about it than ever before. And sleep problems, irritability, not being able to concentrate, a lot of dizziness, that's another one, vertigo, and nausea. But when we're talking about 5G and the whole, the problem with radiation as such, there's a lot of skin problems as well that's been coming up over the last couple of years. So I do feel it's correct. There is this correlation between this graphene that's showed up in the blood and also the EMFs, knowing that, it's been shown that there's signals coming from, people who are 6 feet under, showing, I forget what the word is, but, they're being picked up on when they shouldn't be. It's very, I'm just so happy to find a product that we can say, yes, we've tested, and this product does actually help to remove or demagnetize our body from what's going on right now in the world.
It's amazing. Amazing. This I say this is one of the great, this is going to be historical when it actually, people actually worldwide understand the simplicity of this. Like I said, I don't have a background in the medical field or whatever, but the simplicity of understanding these chemicals in our body and how they're being taken out with these binding elements that are natural elements that our Creator put upon this earth. This is just beautiful. It's an incredible time. It's an enormous amount of awakening and knowledge that's happening surrounding something that is trespassing against all of us in this entire world right now. And that's why I love this, because this is shattering the entire ceiling of ignorance in this world. And we are really doing a breakthrough here where a lot of people that are in the medical field, I think they're going to turn their heads and go, what? This is huge.
Yeah, I believe so. And the other thing I haven't touched on is the fact that the polyethylene is a polymer, and it's the polyethylene glycol, which is, forms part of the hydrogel along with the graphene. It's graphenated hydrogels. So by helping to pull out the polyethylene, this will be helping to mitigate the structures that are building to create this sort of antenna that makes us connected up to 5G or whatever it is, 6G going forward. So I really feel that this is helping on just so many levels, just by taking a supplement that's so easy to take, Christopher, just, you know, it's a few drops a couple of times a day. And you just wouldn't expect such a result.
That's right. And these aren't opinions, people. Remember this. This is verifiable now. This has been done at one of the top labs in the world, and they're verifying exactly what this has done in 35 days. These are not our opinions. We're not trying to pump or dump any type of a product. People know me enough by that by now, but this is facts in your face, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it certainly is, right? Just quickly, just going over when we're looking at these forever chemicals, you know, they are resistant chemicals, really, sort of water resistant, heat resistant. And the fact that they end up in our bodies is it's just so sad that we're having to deal with all this in this world, because they disrupt, you know, our endocrine system and our immune system. They're a huge cancer risk. And when we look at all the terrible conditions that we have to, that we come across, all these different health conditions that affect us as humans, you know, are we just toxic? You know, what causes our cells to react in such a way to develop cancer? You know, what's aggravating our cells? And I do believe this, the mixture of the toxins and the mixture with the EMFs, the two together are really stepping up and causing a lot more sickness than I think we've ever seen in the history of humankind, you know, modern humankind, that is, at least. So anything that's going to help,
right?
Adam?
If not death, right? I mean, this is what we're starting to see that's happening right now.
Yes, well, exactly. Yes, the death rate's gone up significantly. And just quickly, the PFOA, same thing. It's just, you know, implicated, and it's a carcinogen. You know, it causes kidney cancer and testicular cancer, affecting the reproductive system, you know, liver damage. If our liver's not functioning optimally, we're not going to be detoxing efficiently. So we're not going to be removing these toxins, and then we're going to end up sick. You know, just if it's affecting our immune system, our neutrophils aren't going to be functioning well for us, or our lymphocytes, and we're not going to be dealing with issues at cellular level. We're not going to be cleaning up the body, so hence we're going to get sick. It just, you can see how the pattern is.
Yep.
So
and the big pattern there for me, Caroline, is the reproductive and development effects. I mean, this is what this cabal has been doing as we talk about the Georgia Guidestones. Before they took them down, which is actually convenient, last year, it said in 8 different languages. In the English version, it said the ideal population for the world is 500 million people worldwide. Nobody knows who put these massive granite stones up, but this is what we're seeing that's happening. They're attacking, as we were talking with Dr. Carrie Madej, how the children are being attacked right now, right from immunization when they're born. And this is just a carry forth. This is why I'm saying they're trying to destroy the future of mankind here. If they can destroy the reproductive and development, and they can get control of this, then it's over for mankind. And that's why this is so huge, what we're bringing forward here. This is, to me, this is an incredible pushback against this evil.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think it is the children that, you know, is being gone for, because it's like Dr. Carrie Madej was saying, we know ourselves. So even if we are connected up to something and there's a thought that's being maybe imprinted into us, we can discern, that's not my thought, I don't believe in that. But as a young child, if you're being programmed from such a young age of all of this, you're not going to know what your thoughts are or aren't.
Right.
So
separated from your creator, right? We'll be separated from our creator, and we'll be separated from each other, actually, on the bigger picture. This level of consciousness of trying to bring our world together, it's going to be forever broke, because if there's something that's impairing the actual consciousness of the mind of man, then, like I said, this is huge. It's going to be very huge for people. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And we know that they've said that, you know, that humans are now hackable animals, and all of this has been told to us ahead of time. So, and it's just so amazing that we can not only do these tests to see that these substances are in us that they have been talking about, which they will be using to do what they want to do, but we can see these under the microscope as well. So the evidence is there. It's hard to swallow, even for myself, even looking at this, and I see this on a daily basis. I don't see one single client these days that doesn't have hydrogel, you know, the plastics in their blood. I see it. Or have these graphene ribbons. It shows up in everybody now. So anything that's going to be mitigating this, and this is the other part of the study that we're doing as we go along, we're going to be doing the live blood analysis to see whether there is reduction in these hydrogel puddles and these graphene ribbons. So this will be something to report back on as we go forward, Christopher. But just for those of you out there, we all know about these microplastics, and they're saying actually when they become micro or nanoplastics, they become even more toxic because they cross the blood-brain barrier. So, they're affecting us on so many levels in such a detrimental way. And it's not just the plastics itself, it's the additives, the BPA, the bisphenol A, which is highly toxic to the human body and causing, again, liver problems. We can't detox, affecting insulin resistance, damaging the fetus, our reproductive system, damaging the immune system. It's all of these things where our body just can't function well to be able to clean itself, to keep healthy, so the cells start to act abnormal. So to me, it's quite simple. Just we got to get the rubbish out. It's not like the olden days. And I say the olden days, even 20 years ago, where we just had to do a green drink and exercise and just eat more healthily. We are now attacked by substances or toxins that weren't in our environment, definitely weren't in our grandparents' environment. So we have to be doing different things on a daily basis to get these things out. So I just wanted to share with you just something positive also, what Masterpeace looks like under the microscope. And I just think it's absolutely beautiful because you can see in the center here, I believe these to be the clinoptilla-like crystals, the zeolite crystals, and the little dots on the outside, potentially part of the marine plasma, which I'm going to go on to explain, or some of the nano crystals from the Masterpeace formula. But you can see it looks like a star system. And when you compare that to this picture from Hubble, which is some star system out in space somewhere, you can see the correlation, or it's like a mirroring from the macrocosm and the microcosm. And the zeolites, how they work is they have a very strong negative charge, and toxins have a very powerful positive charge. So the zeolites go into the body, and at the nano range and nano size, they're able to go everywhere that water goes, and they're able to go in and pull out these toxins. And this is what's so special about Masterpeace, because it is in the nano range. And by pulling out these toxins in that way, they have a strong pull. And the stars are very similar. When you see a star system, it has a pulling in effect as well. So there is a correlation between these two. I don't know if you can see that in your mind, Christopher.
It's very beautiful, very beautiful. And it's almost a direct, as far as I'm concerned, a direct correlation, right? It's beautiful.
It is a direct correlation.
I believe there's a universe that's within us. There's an entire world that exists within all these incredible bodies that are walking around on this earth from our creator. And like I say, it's just manifesting itself now in not only reality, but also internally. So this is beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And I think when people do have their blood taken for a live blood session and they see their blood and they see that, oh, there's neutrophils, the white blood cells that stream, they don't just sit still. They're going around casing the joint, cleaning up the body, cleaning up the plasma for you. And you see them alive, and people are astounded, like, that's in me. And they make better food choices and better decisions about their health when they see that actually there's little cells in there relying on them for the correct nutrition. Yes. It's a paradigm shift for a lot of people. And I just wanted to show you this crystal as well that I captured from Masterpeace, which is, this is about 5 microns in diameter, but absolutely beautiful. And it's just resting on the side of an air bubble. But the clinoptilla-like crystals, those are the most researched crystals, and these are the ones that are inside the Masterpeace formula, the most researched for, being the most effective at pulling out toxins from the bodies, especially heavy metals. But you can see that under the microscope, they light up, and they're ever so beautiful in this microscopic realm.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So the magic about Masterpeace also is that it is combined with marine sea plasma. And marine sea plasma is super rich in minerals. It has 96 different minerals. And this is the benefit. It's also, marine sea plasma is a colloidal solution, just like the blood is a colloidal solution. We have particles in our blood, various particles, and we have various particles in the marine sea plasma. And so the body recognizes it straight away as being something it really wants to take on board with the minerals and the fact it's a colloidal solution. And that combined with the nanozeolites, it just goes straight in the body. When you put it under your tongue, it just gets absorbed by the cells because of the size. And the bioavailable or biominerals, they're pre-digested minerals in marine sea plasma. So the body just absorbs them. And when we're replacing heavy metals or toxins in the body, specifically heavy metals, we want to be, when we're pulling them out through chelation with the zeolites, we want to be replacing the minerals that where the toxin was housed. It's housed in a place where a mineral should be. So that cell has been probably not functioning as well as it should. And if a lot of cells in an organ system are toxic, then that organ system wouldn't have been functioning as well as it should. So by pulling out the toxins and immediately replacing the minerals, immediately your cells are like, oh, thank goodness, it can start functioning, doing what it's supposed to do. So this is the benefit. And this is why when people taking these, taking Masterpeace, they notice a difference very, very quickly because it's doing a great job at cellular level. So the marine sea plasma is collected from a place in the Mediterranean Ocean, from near a cluster of islands called the Balearics. And it's a very beautiful part of the world. I used to work out there many moons ago, so I know it very, very well. And when marine sea plasma is collected, it's collected at certain times, I think it's at nighttime, certain times of the month, because at certain times of the year or of the month, is when it's the richest in minerals. And the people who collect this, their business, they know exactly when is the right time. So the particular marine sea plasma that's used for Masterpeace, you can go onto their site and read all about it because it is quite a fascinating process in itself, just the collection of marine sea plasma. And then I wanted to touch on also, Christopher, that all the test subjects were also under the FLFE program, which is the high consciousness, which I know you're very familiar with, the high consciousness level. And this also helps to mitigate EMFs. So I do feel this helps the clients as well, potentially, because it helps in a number of different ways. And I just wanted to also touch on the fact that Masterpeace, the formula itself has a level of consciousness of 605, according to the FLFE, and the 605 actually sits at the consciousness level of peace at 600. So when we look at Masterpeace, and then it's at a 605, the name came before this was discovered, right? So I thought that was quite significant and
that's
beautiful.
That's how it appears. But you know what? All this stuff has always been here. I think it's just we're finally seeing these. We find, oh, isn't this unique? But it's always existed, right? I think that's what I mean. It's just how this fits together is off the charts. I mean, to have the word masterpiece incorporated with the actual level of consciousness here, it's in the peace range as well. You can't write this stuff, Caroline. It's just incredible.
It is. When I found that out, I was like, well, hang on. 605 is peace and it's Masterpeace. Has anyone put that together yet? Yeah, absolutely incredible.
So I got two quick questions for you here. As you were doing this incredible presentation, okay, we're talking about that graphene is in everything. We know that, right? We know it's been put in these vaccines. So explain this to me. As you know, our sewer systems, everyone's flushing, the medications everyone are taking, it's all going into the sewer systems and that, into the water. First question, could the graphene be coming out of the tap water, we're showering on? And if that's landing on us, does that absorb into our body? And then the second question I was wondering, well, answer that one first to see if that's a possible thing that could happen.
I believe so, because, you know, looking at all these microscopists around the world, all looking at different product, they're looking at different vaccines, different medications, food, water, it's showing up in the water. So in the tap water, in bottled water, all waters. So yeah, quite easily we are drinking it. And if it's going onto the skin and it's in the nano realm, it's just going to get absorbed. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So having
yeah.
said that, keep with that thought. Now, what if all of us go get our bathing suits and we go over to Spain there and we start swimming around in that marine plasma where it's harvested? That will get
Yeah.
absorbed into our bodies. Would that be a form of detoxing? If you go back to the movie, remember Cocoon? Remember that movie
Yeah.
with Cocoon where everyone was retaining their age or whatever? Well, they were sitting in a specific pool.
Yeah.
Right? I was just thinking
That's
about this now.
Well, you are so right, because marine plasma has a really powerful negative charge to it. It's a colloidal solution, and it's to do with the isotonic. You know, it's minerals. So the more we can make our body alkaline, and bathe and absorb these minerals into our skin and into our body, then yeah, there's definitely, it's going to help to mitigate what's going on. Yeah, I agree with you. It's good questions.
I see a new branch of Masterpeace Travel. That's going to be the next company that we launch, and it's going to be flying everybody into Spain, and we're going to have these particular times of the month where everyone's just going to, get it on in the water, so to speak, and enjoy all that lovely, solution all around us, absorbing into our body. It'd be funny, not funny, it'd be interesting. Again, I'm always a creative in that aspect. It would be interesting to test somebody that's not taking Masterpeace, not taking anything, and they actually, this guy that harvests this stuff, I know he's got an incredible story. I'm going to bring him on sometime. I wonder what his levels were. I would like to see him tested for, to see what's going on in his blood right now, because I bet you we would find something probably unique.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, please do have him on. I'd love to hear more of his story. But living out there in the Balearic Islands, it is very clean. It's a beautiful place,
Right.
and I think anyone bathing in the sea daily as well. Obviously, we have pollution in the sea. We could just go on forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, just anything that's going to help us be grounded, putting our bare feet on the sand, on the ground, grounding our body, also helps to zoop up the charge of our cells. And I've seen that as well. Just 20 minutes of grounding, you can see the difference in your blood. So all these things are going to help to break up any coagulation and just help with detoxification once our blood's moving better. As I've said before, our blood, it's the river of life within us. And it has to be flowing. So anything that's inhibiting that flow is going to be detrimental to our health. But, I just wanted to finish off by showing you some crystallography of Masterpeace, Christopher, that I did. Let me just quickly share the screen with you again.
No problem.
So for those of you who aren't aware, crystallography is the work I do is based on the work of Veda Austin. So I've been looking at products under using crystallography, products that have water, within their ingredients, obviously, and seeing what hydroglyphs are shown through this process. Because water, the language of water, hydroglyphs are words born in ice. So through the crystallization process, little hydroglyphs or patterns are formed, and these patterns have meaning. So when I put Masterpeace to the test, the hydroglyphs that came up for Masterpeace, it was just astounding, Christopher.
Is that a heart?
That's a heart. A heart showed.
My goodness.
And then we had line ladders, and line ladders mean ascension. Okay. Stairways, you can see the ladders and the stairways, meaning information. And the winter trees just at the top means change. So when you combine these four words, love, ascension, information, and change, that means transformation. And this is what happens to us when we take Masterpeace. We are transformed. We're removing toxins. We're increasing our level of consciousness. We are transformed by taking such a product. And everybody who takes this product feels that. They feel that they are more connected, they are more in touch with their intuition, they feel more peaceful. It's the testimonials that have come back are all very, very similar in that respect.
That is, talk about the icing on the cake, Caroline. I mean, that jumped out at me right away, seeing that heart shape there on the left middle side there, and then the lines, as you're saying, the ascension. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't write this stuff. I mean, this isn't something that Caroline's created, herself, with some Photoshop or some art, graphics designer. This is what actually came back from taking this picture. I mean, that's just incredible. It's just, once again, it's another way of reinforcing what we were all knowing, feeling in our hearts and our minds and our soul about this truth that we're unrolling together worldwide. It's beautiful.
I know. I asked when I put the formula into the Petri dish, and I just said, just tell me the message. Tell me the message of Masterpeace. And then I did the crystallography on it, and that's what
Beautiful.
came back. Oh, Christopher, also, I forgot to say that in the second round of testing, we included a few other analytes, and one of them being phosgen. Now, phosgen is a chemical that was banned after World War One, and there's international agreements around it. So why on earth it's showing up in the blood of people in London? It has a 2-day half-life. I don't understand that. So incredible, really. And it was Dr. Robert Young who suggested that we include phosgen in the second round of testing, to include that analyte when he heard that we were doing this test study. So he was interested in finding that out.
Wow. So is this something that they're putting in the water?
Potentially. I don't know where this would be coming from. It's a banned substance after World War One. Highly, highly toxic to the human body.
And this was found in all 3 test subjects that we had.
Yes. Yeah, just as a point of reference.
Okay. That's interesting. Well, we should get somebody testing for it in the States, Canada, other places around the world. Is this just a UK thing that's going on, or is it something that's happening in every country?
Well, I believe that phosgen is a byproduct of another chemical. And with the Palestine train crash that you had in America, right? That was to do with, that was the byproduct of this chemical that burned on that train crash.
Oh,
So apparently, but that was in America. So whether this is, and it's got a 2-day half-life in the human body. So I don't know how this would show up in the UK, but I'm pretty sure in America, yeah, it would be interesting to do testing on people to see what their levels are.
wow. And you say a 2-day half-life, so
It's
if it's
it's
showing up in someone's blood, it's not like saying they just came across something, 3 people randomly 2 days ago or 3 days ago, right? When you were doing these tests. This is something that is this a type of forever chemical that if it builds up in your body, can it last more than 2 days?
no, apparently it can't. The body will get rid of it, but it's highly toxic. You know, if you come into contact with it at high levels, then it's incredibly toxic for the body. So just to show up, and I think it was in the tolerable level range in the body, but it's there. So I don't believe it should be there. And when I say it's got a 2-day half-life, that's what we're told. But obviously, maybe it's not the case, right?
Right. And if you want to touch on again, you said to me before about the absorption so people can understand when something is on your skin, how long it takes to absorb to get into your system.
Yeah, so anything you put on your skin, body lotions, whatever, topical solution you're putting on your skin, it'll be absorbed through that skin through your skin within 6 minutes. So it's like very, very careful, what you put on your body to buy these care products that have chemicals in them. It's just going to go straight into your system and be whizzing around your blood circulation within 6 minutes. So, I always say the best thing to put on your skin for me, I always use coconut oil, for example, just a natural substance. Anything that's natural is the best. Almond oil. Yeah.
Well, I stopped using deodorant 3 years ago, I think it was, maybe 4 years ago now. I just, the odd time, if I got to go to a wedding or something, I'm going to be dancing it up. Well, that's a different story. But I just started to understand, these chemicals, what in God's name is it being absorbed into? And that's what I feel for women, right? All these beauty products, all this makeup and lipstick, it's forever. And I can only imagine what must be built up in a lot of these women. I mean, men, we don't have that. Maybe we have different things that we're getting it from in our environments, but the women are being, you're bombarding your own body every single day, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And there's now some apps that you can download, and it will read the ingredients for you, and it will tell you exactly, the dangerous chemicals that are inside your product. So, people out there probably know about that, but if those who don't, then search your app store. But then what I'm doing is I'm telling people to use their phone.
Yeah.
I don't like to tell people to use their phone, to hold on to their phone for all the frequencies going through you, because I've done so much testing on that as well. And really, we should be holding our phones. It's a strange time on earth right now. We've got all these things for convenience that are supposed to help us, but really they're causing more problems at the same time. It's, what can one do?
Well, I've got someone that I know that's in the makeup field and beauty products, and I've been looking at this for a long time. So I think maybe I should do a show on this in the near future as well, to help show people where products are being created today that do not have these type of horrific, forever chemicals, so to speak, in them, because there are some wonderful products out there. And I think it's time the world starts to get the full Monty.
Yeah, I think there's some good companies that are now setting up, and it's realized that these even these very expensive brands, are full of chemicals. So there is a shift away from all of this now. It's just taking a bit of time.
This has been phenomenal today. This has been of epic proportions for me. Of all the work I've done over the many years, there's some things that are in the top shelf, but this is ultimately the highest one ever, because this means everything to our world right now, and to mankind. And I cannot thank you enough, Caroline, for everything that you've done here for the people, and Matt, everyone over at Masterpeace. And I believe we are going to be a light force to be reckoned with in the very near future. Once the world gets these simple truths in their hearts, their minds, and soul, we have a duty to make sure everybody gets this product into them to transform and restore our bodies back to their initial intent.
Yeah, no, beautiful. I think everybody around the world is trying to find solutions. Mitigation to what's going on for those who are aware. So, just finding this information, just this test study, I just think is phenomenal, and it's unbelievable. And what shocked me, I think, the most was seeing that people do have graphene oxide in them, because it's being denied. It's almost like a gaslighting that's going on. We're seeing it, but it's not there. So the blood never lies. And this blood test is telling the truth, and we'll just carry on, and we'll just keep you updated about, when we get to the 60-day mark, and the 90-day mark would be even more interesting, I think.
Oh, that's incredible, Caroline. Well, I know on behalf of all my subscribers here and my fellow man and woman around the world, they're going to see this video. We cannot thank you enough. We love you with all our hearts for everything that you and Matt and everyone are pulling together. We are going to be, like I say, a force to be reckoned with in 2024. I really feel that as my grandfather always used to say, the worm is turning. And I believe the worm is finally turning in this world for mankind, for the better. And it's people like you that are going to change this world. And with all my heart, I love you to death. God bless you. And I look forward to bringing you back in the very near future.
Thank you so much. Thank you.